Welcome to Scenario Planning for Controllers and CFOs, a panel discussion brought to you by the Controllers Council. My name is Neil Brown, Executive Director of the Controllers Council. And before I introduce our expert panelists and our partner sponsor, let me share some brief housekeeping items. First, we'll have Q&A at the end of the presentation, so please use your GoToWebinar control panel to ask our experts questions. Next, the webinar is CPE eligible with 4 polling questions, so please answer each poll for CPE or to benchmark your peers. Please allow up to 1 week for CPE certificates to be emailed. Also regarding CPE, you'll receive a brief survey directly after the webcast today, so please complete. And finally, you'll receive a link to this webcast via email in the next 24 hours, so no need for notes or screenshots. With that, a word about our partner and sponsor, BILL. New York Stock Exchange, BILL, is a leading financial operations platform for small and mid-sized businesses. BILL automates the future of finance so businesses can thrive. BILL's integrated platform helps businesses to more efficiently control payables, receivables, spend and expense management. Hundreds of thousands of businesses rely on BILL's proprietary member network of millions to pay or get paid faster. Headquartered in San Jose, California, BILL is a trusted partner of leading U.S. financial institutions, accounting firms, and accounting software providers. For more information, visit bill.com. With that, I'm very pleased to introduce our expert panelists. Barbara Salazar is Chief Financial Officer of 7X Group, a firm that's involved in construction, property management, and real estate management. She has more than 25 years of finance and accounting experience with roles that included VP of Finance, CFO, and Corporate Controller, and duties that included SEC reporting, SOX compliance, and audit at PwC. Barbara is a CPA and earned an MBA from Stanford. Eric Greene is Director of Accounting and Controller at Aptive Environmental with approximately 2,000 employees. Eric is a CPA and a certified management accountant, a certified internal auditor, a certified fraud examiner, and more acronyms. He's a fellow PwC alum and Utah Association of CPA Board of Directors, member of AICPA. Eric earned a master's degree in accounting and business administration from Westminster University and undergraduate degrees in finance and accounting from University of Utah. Wow, that's a lot of credentials, our awesome panelists. So welcome, Barbara and Eric. Before we get started, please just tell us a little bit about yourself and your current role. Barbara, would you like to start?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Currently I'm Chief Financial Officer of a group of companies. We mainly invest and manage construction, real estate. Main companies in the group are Recon 360, CM Squared, and multiple other construction and real estate companies. Overall, I mean, I have been CFO in engineering, healthcare, very different types of companies, and controller probably, I mean, all of it. I was even CFO of fashion company, Amaviar, green fashion company, created by fellow MBA. And in my role, of course, as being CFO of group manager by private equity, I'm very much focused on supporting shareholders with scenario planning, FP&A, and helping them in new successful acquisition and managing financial functions of all our group companies. Very pleased to present.
Welcome. Eric?
Thanks, Barbara. Thanks, Neil. My name is Eric Greene. I'm the Controller and Director of Accounting here at Aptive Environmental. For those who don't know what that is, we are one of the premier pest control providers here in the United States. If you guys have pest control issues, whether they be rats, cockroaches, or whatever, I think we've got a pretty good product and a great service. So make sure to look us up.
Your trucks are going up and down the street all the time, I might add, right?
Oh yeah. You'll see the white Aptive trucks with the green Aptive lettering. So hopefully you'll probably see more of them now since we're talking about it today. It's how it always happens, isn't it?
All right.
Not me. Otherwise, yeah, I've got 4 kids. I'm here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I love Triscuits and Utah football.
Awesome. Thanks for that Triscuits piece. So, yeah, we're going to get started with a poll, and it's a real obvious question here. So let's launch that. My company uses scenario planning as part of our planning process. So select one of the following. So please take a few moments and don't fret. If you're late on this, you simply need to answer 3 out of 4 polls. So please use your GoToWebinar control panel to answer the poll. Give you a few seconds. And we're not going to really talk about the results too much. We got too many great questions to get to our panelists. Let it go for a few more seconds. And let's close this. And again, don't worry if we don't get, but most agree, and but a 5th disagree. So, but again, we don't need to go through those. We will get right to our questions. And the first one is, does your organization use scenario planning? And if so, what examples? Eric, why don't you go first on this?
Yeah, I think we actually use scenario planning in a lot more ways in our day-to-day work than we expect. A lot of work that we do is scenario planning and trying to make decisions, looking at potential outcomes of impacts, evaluating responses, to possibilities that may be either positive or negative. And so in context of this conversation, we're thinking about larger scenario planning of helping key decision makers, whether it be executives or leaders of teams, all the way up to the CEO and the board, help understand what risks and opportunities are out there, and helping businesses become proactive versus being reactive to events. We all know that when something happens, we say, oh shoot, this new thing happened, and there's something known in the business world as black swans, these items these events and these things that happen that no one could have predicted, and you don't know what you don't know. Outside of those black swan events, scenario planning really kind of takes care of everything else by trying to be proactively engaged in saying what risks and what opportunities are out there that we can be more proactive in anticipating and have a good understanding of what we should act and do to be able to make good decisions. I think that's generally what it is. It's a way to assert control over an uncertain world. We live in a VUCA world, a volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous world that continues to get more complex and more uncertain. And this ability to be able to create assumptions about the future and determine how you as an individual, how you as a team, or you as an organization will respond is the heart of scenario planning, of bringing organizational awareness of what could happen, being able to spot warning signs of brewing challenges and being able to respond accordingly. Sometimes you look at best case, worst case scenarios where you're looking at what's the best that could happen, what's the worst that could happen. In this world that continues to change, I think that scenario planning or having a skill set which is both hard and soft, you have to have both a qualitative skill set and a quantitative skill set to be able to understand and be able to say, look out in the future and say, what are the multiple outcomes that are possible here, and what are ways that we can, minimize risk and maximize opportunity with the different scenarios that might play out based on the assumptions that we take. At Aptive Environmental, we use scenario planning a lot for our mergers and acquisitions, determining if we are going to buy or purchase other companies. We use scenario planning to understand if we should introduce new product lines or services, if we should enter into new markets. We use it to understand, based on macro economic information, if there needs to be any general business changes based on the economy, based on political risk, based on other risks that may come through. We use it for headcount planning to be able to understand if things from a revenue standpoint go down, how do we manage our headcount appropriately? There's a lot of different ways in which you can apply scenario planning.
Wow, some great examples there. Barbara, how about yourself and 7X?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Eric covered it so amazing, right on the top of the point. So at 7X, I would not even do any FP&A and budgeting or forecasting without scenario planning. So I will start with realistic scenario, optimistic scenario, and pessimistic scenario. And it might be multiple scenario under each three categories. We are doing multiple M&As. We are creating a new company. We are doing new investments. We will always do scenario planning. And even with your budget, like our first quarter was like so amazing, it beat our optimal scenario. But when we are a little bit different, so we have to analyze and forecast all that scenario, all those cash flows that we need under that scenario, bank lines, working capital. So it is very complex modeling. And on the top of that, we will not go into any M&A, into any acquisition without duly scenario planning. What would happen out of that? And as you know, with M&A, that Eric actually discussed so well, there is huge uncertainty. So we planned, for example, one acquisition at the end of the year. It is happening right now, right? We had multiple scenarios how our financial results will be impacted by that. So, and there are so many risks in this market, right? There are risks of legal suits, the risk of we go to a new market, it might not work well. So we need to evaluate all those different scenarios and be ready for them. Be ready for them financially, be ready for them strategically, do appropriate hiring. And in my business, we are growing very fast. Our revenue like doubled last year. So we need to go through all that scenario. Okay, if business doesn't go that fast, what would happen? Would we cut employees? How we will manage our profitability? And especially in this inflationary environment, when it is so easy to grow revenue for a lot of companies with established history, I mean, in construction, revenue growth, real estate, revenue growth like crazy right now. But unfortunately, there is a lot of pressure on margins, on gross profit, on EBITDA. So I have to do a lot of scenario planning to make sure that we don't take that options when we are not so much profitable. So we have to do a lot of scenario analysis of actual results and adjust all my financial model. So technically, all my role as CFO is about scenario planning and forecasting, supporting shareholders.